So you wrote a book about Grateful Dead.
Yep.
And Grateful Dead also was an influence in a bunch of different ways, I guess. But one was the concept of black licorice and how that was how they framed what their music was like and who it appealed to. So how did black licorice and their distribution strategy, where did that fit in to HubSpot? You have all these like very interesting formative things that sort of influence the business.
Yep. Grateful Dead was incredibly influential on the formation of HubSpot. It wasn't so much the black licorice thing. I'll tell the black licorice thing, but that wasn't what influenced us. Somebody asked Jerry Garcia about their rabid fans. Like, why are people such rabid fans of Grateful Dead? And he said, the Grateful Dead's like black licorice. And the interviewer's like, what? He said, 10% of the world loves black licorice. 90% of the world really does not care for black licorice. We're like black licorice. And that's sort of the internet. And that was something we were calling out at the time of the internet. Like, you have to be a little polarizing. Now, it turns out that happened in spades on the internet and turned out to be a very bad thing, a bad aspect of the internet, the polarization.
Social media in particular.
Polarization works incredibly well. But we were advising boring old security software startups to be polarizing.
Take a stand.
Yeah, take a stand on something, differentiate yourself. And little did we know what would happen over time.
So what element did influence?
A lot. But one of the things the Grateful Dead did was they were very much contrarians. They had in every way, they didn't like conventional wisdom, in every way. And I wrote a whole book about it. And I'm surprised you weren't one of the 5 people who read it. But they were actually brilliant in a lot of ways. So they fought conventional wisdom every way. And one of the ways they did that was, let's do a little role play, you and I.
Yeah.
I know that you're a huge Beyonce fan, right?
Sure. Who is it?
When you go,
that's a good way to get canceled online, is saying you're not a Beyonce fan. So let's go with this. When
you go to your Beyonce concert and you show up in San Francisco and you bring your giant camera and your giant microphone and all your recording stuff and you show up at the front door, what happens?
They do not let you take that in.
They do not let you in. And why would that be?
Protective of licensing rights and content and all that.
Yeah. It makes sense. Now, if you showed up at a Grateful Dead concert and you had a giant microphone set up and a big camera and all your gear, what happens?
Pull you forward and it ends up on nugs.net or whatever.
That does now. But back in the day, they gave you really good seats in what's called the taper section. And everyone set their microphones up and people would record the concerts. And then they go back, let's say, to their dorm room and they make recordings of those concerts. And usually people would go to several concerts in a row. And we can get into why that is. But you record the concerts, you went to 10 in a row, you pick the best one, you record it, you make 10 copies and you give them out. And then let's say you and I were at some party and people are dancing to this strange gypsy music. And you say to me, like, what is this music? It seems great. And your answer is, well, why don't you come check it out? They're going to be playing at Madison Square Garden next week. Come on the road with me and we'll go to Philly and we'll go on tour with them. They were the original like viral marketers. They gave away their content marketers, inbound marketers. They gave away their content to pull more people in. That was very influential on us.
And so that coupled with Dharmesh's blog, I assume you realize that there's a different way of reaching people and let us enable that.
Yeah. And the other early blog that influenced was 37 Signals, had a really good blog 150 years ago. And they stopped it, which was like, oh, I can't believe you stopped it. But they had so much momentum through their blog, and they were terrific bloggers.
Talk about polarizing on the internet.
Yeah, they are a little polarizing on the internet. They were less polarizing back then.
Yeah, they've gotten.
And Joel Spolsky was another early business blogger.
Sure.
That had a lot of
Joel
traction.
was at, I guess he was Trello or whatever, that whole family of
I lost
stuff.
track of Joel, but we loved his blog, and we were like, that's the way to market now.
Yeah, reaching people. I mean, I guess this is an
This
element.
is it now.
This
You
is
start
an
a
element of
podcast
all
or a
that.
video, or you get good at TikTok or whatever.
On the